almost like you're reading my mind, right? Because this is exactly the segue I was going into in terms of focus, in the
Yeah,
job search. And
yeah,
now, I'm going to stick my neck out there and make a statement. Everybody is talking about product management today. It's like
yes,
product management is the new data science, right? Now, everybody
yes,
talks about
yeah,
it. I honestly don't know how many people know about it, but everybody
yes,
wants to do it. How
yes,
about you? Did you have this clarity that I'm going to be a product manager? This is the exact job role I'm going to apply to, and I'm going to,
yes,
nail it? Or was it
yeah.
something you learned during the process while you were at university?
Yeah, no, you're true. I think product management is the new in thing, right? Everyone is an expert on
Mhm.
it. Everyone has an opinion on it. I'm pretty sure there are
Right.
more product managers out there than there are products to be managed at this stage. But
I'm sure.
yeah, but no, I think I was fortunate enough. I was working at Reliance Jio for 2 years before I came to the US.
Mhm.
And at Jio, I
Mhm.
was doing a mix of project management slash product management. So I knew what product
Mhm.
management was, but I didn't know this was
Mhm.
like a full fledged option before I came to the US. I had no idea. It's only when I came
Mhm.
to the US I
Mhm.
realized that there are people who really want to be product managers, and I'm like, hey, this is pretty similar to what I did for 2 years. So maybe I have a natural inclination to that place. And I don't have to
Mhm.
kind of, retailor my resume because my experience
Mhm.
directly fits the requirements of a product
Mhm.
manager. So within the
Mhm.
first month of coming to the US, I was pretty much sure I want to get into product management. I didn't
Mhm.
have a follow-up option, which when I look back, I think I should have. But at that time,
Mhm.
you kind of feel that the world will bend to your will, and you're like I mean, the world revolves around you. So, I mean, my
Right.
advice would be have a fallback option because things might not work the way you want. But I was stupid enough to go ahead with I only want product management and not even project management, only product management.
Right.
But I'm
Right.
I'm really
Right.
lucky that things worked out for me. Otherwise, I would have had a really tough time in kind of falling
Mhm.
back on option two. But yeah, that's how I
All right.
got into product management, and then I did some
Uh-huh.
courses online, and I spoke to a
Uh-huh.
few friends. And this Dartmouth CCC that you mentioned, which is basically a set of
Mhm.
people who've been in the industry for say 12 or 15 plus years, very experienced folks. A lot of them were
Mhm.
product managers or senior product manager, or they kind of headed a product manager group within their organization. So I spoke to them and I really liked what they were doing, and I could see myself in them say 15 years from now. That's how I kind of got into the bandwagon.
And interestingly, you mentioned project management as well. Along with product management, and it's such a thin line that separates the two, right?
Yeah.
Product management as a definition can be so general, and there's one thing that I hate. People say, the product manager is the CEO of the product or something when when
Oh
they're
yeah,
asked
yeah,
to
yeah.
define it,
Yes, yes, yes,
which
yes.
which annoys me to no end. But according to you, you're a product manager. What is a product manager? The simplest possible term.
In a very simplistic view, with no nuance at all, a product manager is a quarterback between the engineering team and the management team. Basically, there are a set of engineers, software engineers, who are the real deal, right? They write software, and
Mhm.
software runs the world. Let's be very clear about this.
Right.
Like, the world runs because
100%.
these people write software, and then there is the management side who wants to have things done. Like, they set the roadmap, they want the company to go a certain way. So product manager is
Mhm.
this guy in between who talks to the engineering team, who has his own
Mhm.
product vision, and then has to kind of
Mhm.
convince the same product vision to the software engineers as well as the management. So this product management
Mhm.
guy in between basically does many different roles. He speaks to the UX team, to the legal team, to the software engineering team, to the management team. Everyone shouts at him. He has to convince all of them. And then if he has time beyond that, he will kind of write the roadmap vision and the product vision documents and the BRDs, which is actually the important
Right.
thing that he should do all day. But because he's caught up in a
Mhm.
lot of other issues, that deep work happens only 1 hour out of an 8 hour day,
Mhm.
because people are just pinging
Mhm.
him constantly about things that are either breaking, which are bugs or features. And if something has to go live, then something will break 24 hours in advance. That's the rule of the industry. So he has to kind of get into it and solve that issue. So I mean, there is
Right.
no one stop definition to product management, but this is what I could learn
Mhm.
working as a product manager for about 1 year, 3 months now in the US.
All right. Fantastic. So, what kind of products do you manage, and what does
Yeah.
a typical day, look like? Do you even have a typical day, or is every day different?
I mean, I wish I had a typical day, right? That would have been so easy, but I don't. I work in the fraud team on Amazon.com. We build
uh,
products to kind of protect people who sell their things on Amazon.com from people who are
mm,
fraudsters. So we deal with identity
right.
fraud, with payment related fraud,
Mm,
with account takeover, and all the kinds
mm,
of fraud. So I've become a more suspicious person ever since the last 1 year, because I
mm,
always kind of I'm suspicious of people's motivations, because everyone is like a fraud actor to me, because I've been so much in that space for 1 year now.
right.
But yeah, I think a typical day. So we literally, I mean, Amazon has a very writing oriented atmosphere. So we write, like,
Okay.
all our meetings start with like a 6 pager or a 4 pager document that everyone reads for 30 minutes, and only once someone has read that for 30 minutes can the meeting begin. So
Mm,
once the meeting starts, you're
mm,
not at a loss for about what the meeting is about, because the document kind of details
mm,
everything the meeting will cover and the topic that we're talking
mm,
about. So Amazon is very
mm,
focused on writing, and I love that, because writing is so difficult.
mm,
Writing something to
mm,
make someone understand is one of the most difficult things you can do, because you cannot
mm,
afford to make logical loops when you're writing. When you're talking, you can have
right.
logical loops because it's real time. But when
Mm,
you're writing, when you put
mm,
words on paper, everything has to make sense. Like line one, line two,
mm,
line three, line four, everything has to make sense. And that's what the leadership is really concerned about. So product management in Amazon is about writing documents, writing roadmaps, writing product vision documents, writing why option A is better than option B and why. What will happen if you go for option
mhm,
A? What will happen if you go for option B? And in the long term, why is option A much better than option B? So that's a product manager's job in
mhm,
order to write all this. So a typical day
mhm,
involves me writing documents, dealing with issues that need to be dealt with. And if there is a launch, so my team is kind of gearing up for a big launch, and we kind of launched a new product last week, and there will be a series of
mhm,
iterative launches over the months. So as soon as a launch
mhm,
weekend comes, is everything in place? If something breaks, what will happen, and how, and what are the ramifications of this launch to the overall vision of the team? So that's what a
mhm,
typical day looks like. I think on a scale of 1 to 10, this was probably the least helpful answer I could give you, but
mhm.
that's my role. I don't have a more defined definition for you, and I hope